What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to the Made to Excel Fitness Podcast, the fitness podcast for you, by you. I'm your host, as always, Mark Torres, and in today's episode number 42, is the final training style. Today is all about calisthenics. What is it? The history of calisthenics, training style, programming, pros and cons, all that fun stuff. Should you do it? Let's talk about it all. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. It is Monday, December 21st, and happy Christmas week to you guys. We're finally here. We finally made it. Whether or not you celebrate Christmas, pretty much all the celebrations are around this time of year. Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, if you are non-celebratory at all. Whatever the case may be, for most of you guys, probably Christmas. Most of you guys celebrate something around this time of year. Hopefully this time of year brings you some sort of joy, some sort of enjoyment, some sort of happiness. If you don't celebrate anything at all, hopefully, just another run-of-the-mill week for you guys, but hopefully a good one at that. But Christmas is here. I'm very excited. I love Christmas. And just this past week, I watched my favorite Christmas movie of all time, Jingle All the Way. And I don't know, well, I shouldn't say I know because I know now. The reason I have such an attachment to Jingle All the Way is not because it's a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. It's more of a nostalgic attachment. I think Jingle All the Way is one of, if not the first Christmas movie, I think it is the first Christmas movie, that I have a real recollection of as a child, that I remember watching, that I have distinct memories watching. And I think as I went into adulthood, that stuck with me. Because for all intents and purposes, Jingle All the Way is not a good movie. Jingle All the Way is not a good movie in, like, Elf being a good movie, right? Elf is a good movie through and through. It's enjoyable. It's entertaining, but it has a good storyline. Everything makes sense. Jingle All the Way is not that movie. Jingle All the Way is very cheesy, very corny, very outlandish. But I have this strong nostalgic attachment to it. My favorite Christmas movie of all time. If you haven't watched it, I suggest at least watching it once, right? It might not be your cup of tea, depending on the kind of person you are. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad, right? There's a big kind of superhero element to it. Strong Christmas vibes, the whole shebang. It's a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. And I might spoil something here in the next few seconds. So if you do intend on watching the movie and you've never done it before, now would be the time to skip forward a little bit in 3, 2, 1. But the end of Jingle All the Way, the whole jetpack sequence. So for those who've watched it and kind of don't remember and you don't plan on watching it, refresher course. Arnold Schwarzenegger's son Jamie wants a Turbo Man doll, and the whole movie is him trying to find the Turbo Man doll, and him and Sinbad are trying to find it simultaneously. They kind of become nemesis throughout the entire thing, trying to find the toy. And at the end, Arnold actually gets to become Turbo Man at the winter Christmas parade. So he becomes Turbo Man in real life. He's got the jetpack and the whole thing. And Sinbad actually is his villain counterpart, dresses up in the whole thing, jumps the guy who was supposed to be the villain in the show, takes his costume, and they end up fighting at the end. But Arnold Schwarzenegger has a turbo, or not a turbo, he has a jetpack as Turbo Man, and that entire jetpack sequence is absolutely some of the most ridiculous cinema in history, right? I haven't seen the movie in a while, so as an adult now, I can see how bad this jetpack scene is. It's so crazy, it's so outlandish, it's so wild. If you haven't seen it in a while and you find just the jetpack scene by itself is absolutely amazing. It's absolutely hilarious. It's just so wild, but one of the craziest scenes in cinema ever. So when I talk about Jingle All the Way not being a good movie, that's exactly what I mean. But it's just overall just enjoyable entertainment. I shed a little bit of I didn't shed a tear, but I welled up a little bit at the end. So if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. If you haven't seen it in a while, I definitely recommend a rewatch. This is your last stretch to watch Christmas movies, so get it out of the way now. Because that's it. After December 25th, that's it. No more Christmas movies. We're headed to the new year and kind of hopefully stepping the new year out on the right foot. but we'll see, right? There's no seasonal ambiance after that. So get your Christmas viewing, get your Christmas listening out of the way now. You've got 4 days from the time that you listen to this episode, if you listen to it on the day that it comes out. So get on that as much as you can. But getting into today's show, today is the final training style. 7 training styles over the last 3-ish months. And when I did the recording for this training style, I ended the show very abruptly. Not abruptly, but I just ended the show, the final training style of all the 7 of 3 months worth of episodes, and I didn't conclude anything. I didn't summarize anything. I just ended it. So for those of you watching, you might see at the very end, I'm going to say bye to you guys, but I'm going to pop back up. I'm going to pop back up wearing this exact thing because I'm recording the conclusion and the summary now because I forgot to do it in that episode. So if you're listening, you're going to hear me say, hey, have a good one. Stay festive, my friends. Peace. But I'm going to come back, right? So it seems like the show is ending, but I'm going to come back. And really at the end of the day, those last few minutes when I come back and I summarize everything might be the most important things that I say over the course of this entire series. So it seems like the show is ending, but it's not ending quite yet. Stick around, listen to that part, and that'll conclude the training style series for this iteration for the season 1 of the Made to Excel Fitness podcast. So definitely stick around, but let's get right into it. Training style number 7, calisthenics. What it do, what it be. I don't know why I said that, but welcome to training style number 7. As you heard in the introduction, this one's all about calisthenics. This is the final training style of this Made to Excel Fitness podcast. 10 weeks later, obviously I took a 3-week break in the middle. Didn't want this to become monotonous, but 10 weeks later, here we are, training style number 7, the final of the training styles that I'll talk about in this iteration of the Made to Excel Fitness podcast. In this go around, if I come up with other training styles in the future, maybe I'll do additional episodes in season 2, quote unquote season 2 of the Made to Excel Fitness podcast. But hopefully, like I said, the reason why I did all these different training styles was to try to expose you guys to as many different training styles as I possibly could, right? In terms of training, some people just really don't like training. Some people say, I just wish that I enjoyed working out. And I think for a lot of you guys, there's going to be some of you guys out there that no matter what you try, you're just really, this is not your thing, right? And you're just not going to like it no matter what you do. For those people, finding the thing that you dislike the least is going to really be the most important thing. But if you can find a training style that you really enjoy doing, that you think you can do for the long run because you have fun while you're doing it, that is going to help you tremendously in your fitness journey. You're going to always want to do things that you enjoy doing more so than you don't enjoy doing. So if you can find a training style that you really like, it's going to help you make the best possible progress. So hopefully through the course of these 7 different training styles, you found something, you discovered something, you started looking into something that you think you might try or you have tried at this point over the course of the last 10 weeks. Hopefully this kind of puts you on the right track. So wrapping it up here, training style number 7, calisthenics. Same process, read the Wikipedia page. What is calisthenics? The history of it, training emphasis, programming, pros and cons, things of that nature. Let's get into it. So the Wikipedia page for calisthenics is a form of strength training consisting of a variety of movements that exercise large muscle groups such as running, standing, grasping, pushing, etc. These exercises are often performed rhythmically and with minimal equipment as bodyweight exercises. They are intended to increase strength, fitness, and flexibility through movements such as pulling, pushing, bending, jumping, or swinging, using one's body weight for resistance. Calisthenics can provide the benefits of muscular and aerobic conditioning in addition to improving psychomotor skills such as balance, agility, and coordination. Urban calisthenics is a form of a street workout. Calisthenics groups perform exercise routines in urban areas. Individuals and groups train to perform advanced calisthenics such as muscle-ups, levers, and various freestyle moves such as spins and flips. Sports teams and military units often perform leader-directed group calisthenics as a form of synchronized physical training. To increase group cohesion and discipline, calisthenics is also popular as a component of physical education in primary and secondary schools over much of the globe. The word calisthenics comes from the ancient Greek word kalos, which means beautiful, to emphasize the aesthetic pleasure that derives from the perfection of the human body, and stenos, which means strength, great mental strength, courage, strength, and determination. It is the art of using one's body as resistance in order to develop a physique. The practice was recorded in use in ancient Greece. Once again, ancient Greece was popping when it came to fitness, including the armies of Alexander the Great and the Spartans at the Battle of Thermopylae. Don't think I said that correctly, but imagine this is Sparta. 300, Gerard Butler kicking that dude into the pit. They were doing calisthenics, right? That's pretty badass, I would say. I think that's a pretty good homage to the calisthenic training style. Imagine those dudes from 300. Of course, if you look at the behind the scenes stuff as to how those people actually got the physiques in the role of 300, they weren't doing calisthenics, but imagine the actual Spartan armies, the ancient Greeks using calisthenics in order to be physically fit. That's a pretty good picture. That's a pretty good homage to the training style. The history. Catherine Esther Beecher was an American educator and author who popularized and shaped a conservative ideological movement to both elevate and entrench women's place in the domestic sphere of American culture. She introduced calisthenics in a course of physical education and promoted it. Girl power, hell yeah. Disciples of Frederick Ludwig Jahn, don't think I said that right either, brought their version of gymnastics to the United States, while Catherine Beecher and D.O. Lewis set up physical education programs for women in the 19th century. Organized systems of calisthenics in America took a back seat to competitive sports after the Battle of the Systems, when the states mandated physical education systems. The Royal Canadian Air Force Calisthenics Program, published in the 1960s, helped launch modern fitness culture. Calisthenics is associated with the rapidly growing international sport called street workout. The street workout consists of athletes performing calisthenic routines in timed sessions in front of a panel of judges. The World Street Workout and Calisthenics Federation, based in Riga, Latvia, orchestrates the annual national championship and hosts the world championship for all the national champions to compete at one competition. The World Calisthenics Organization, based in Los Angeles, California, promotes a series of competitions known globally as the Battle of the Bars. The WCO created the first ever set of rules for formal competition, including weighted classes, time round systems, original judging criteria, and a 10-point must system, giving an increasing number of athletes worldwide an opportunity to compete in these global competitions. Street workout competitions have also popularized freestyle calisthenics, which is a style of calisthenics where the athlete uses their power and momentum to perform dynamic skills and tricks on the bar, often as part of a routine where each trick is linked together in a consistent flow. Freestyle calisthenics requires great skill to control your momentum and understand the mechanics of your body and the bar. So if you've seen, there was a bunch of popular YouTube videos back in the day of people doing these extreme sort of pull-ups and things of that nature, right? Pulling yourself up to the bar and going side to side and doing bicycle pull-ups and things of that nature. Those are very much so street workouts. Those are very much so kind of the upper echelon of calisthenic workouts, right? So you've probably seen those before. You've probably seen people like in New York City doing pull-ups on street lights. Not street lights, but the ones that are on the sidewalk that show the crosswalk. Doing things of that nature, right? Just finding random beams and bars wherever. In Los Angeles, on the beach, in Venice Beach. Doing things on those bars out there that they have. That's all part of these different street workouts and freestyle calisthenics. So if you've seen those videos, that's what they're talking about in this Wikipedia page. Next up, common exercises. The most common: push-ups, sit-ups, squats, burpees, pull-ups, dips, handstand, hyperextensions, leg raises, muscle-ups, planks, shuttle runs, calf raises, right? These are all probably things that you've more or less heard of for the most part. The good majority of them you've probably heard of. They're all body weight exercises, right? All things that you can do anywhere. And I think that's it. And they kind of go into specific calisthenics parks and things of that nature. But that I pretty much read the whole Wikipedia page, which wasn't my intention, but that's kind of what ended up happening. So calisthenics is all about using your body weight in order for you to get stronger, right? So when we talk about training emphasis, it is about getting stronger, using your body weight as the outside force, not the outside force because it's inside. Using weight as the resistance, getting stronger. But they also talk about balance, agility, speed, things of that nature. Cardio to an aspect, right? I don't know technically speaking, if we're getting into semantics, if something like running is technically considered calisthenics, right? Running is cardio. Calisthenics, to me, in my mind, is all about the strengthening portion of bodyweight exercise, cardio being or running being the cardio portion of bodyweight exercises. I don't know if semantically they do go together, but in terms of this particular podcast episode, let's just look at calisthenics as a strengthening sort of workout with balance, agility, coordination, and things of that nature kind of sprinkled in through their Salt Bae-like. Salt Bae is problematic. I think maybe Salt Bae got canceled, so disregard the Salt Bae reference that I just made. But calisthenics is all about getting strong, using your body weight, and being able to manipulate your body weight and having spatial awareness of where your body is and what your body's doing for any particular movement. So if you want to get in touch with your inner self, with your inner body, with what your body's doing, calisthenics is a good way to go. In terms of programming, it's really going to be dependent on your goal, right? If you're a complete beginner and you've never done anything before in the gym in your life, you're going to have very different programming for anything, no matter what the training style is, but especially something in calisthenics, right? If this is your first workout and you've never done anything physically demanding before, you might pick 3 or 4 exercises. You might do one set of 10 of each and call it a day. See how you feel, come back. If you're not sore at all, do the same thing. If you're not sore after that, try some more reps, right? Try another set, right? It's going to vary from person to person to person. But depending on the workout, depending on the difficulty of the workout, it'll also change. For example, I would say most people are probably pretty efficient in a squat. They can squat their body weight a decent amount of times. But a pull-up is something that not everybody can do. You're not going to be able to program somebody to do 20 pull-ups. They might not be able to do one, but they could possibly feasibly do 20 body weight squats. So it's really going to vary from person to person. It's all about kind of finding your baselines for all the calisthenic workouts that you want to do, and then kind of working up in those baselines, right? So if you do calisthenic workout and you're like, I'm going to do push-ups, and you find out that you can do 7 push-ups before wanting to die, working within that and maybe doing smaller sets, so you're not just going to failure every single time, but smaller sets until you can eventually do 8 push-ups before you want to die, and then 9, and then 10, and kind of working your way through that. It's going to be highly variable depending on the particular workout. A squat is going to be way heavier than a pull-up, right? Burpees are hard. Push-ups are hard for some people, right? It's really going to be dependent on the particular exercise. So this is going to be, there's no really through-line program. There's no sort of template that you can follow. It's all about your baseline as of right now and kind of working up into all that fun stuff. In terms of pros and cons, I usually do the pros first and the cons later. I'll do the con first and the pro later because there's really only one of each. The big con of a calisthenic style workout is you're not going to make massive progress. You're not going to get ridiculously strong. You're not going to make ridiculously huge amounts of muscular gain doing calisthenics. Will you make progress? Absolutely. But just using your body weight and manipulating your body weight can only get you so far. If you're a complete beginner, there's probably plenty of leeway in there for you to make progress. But if you're a person who's been in the gym for a particularly long amount of time, and you're relatively strong, manipulating your body weight is going to become more and more challenging as you go forward in order to continue to help you make progress. There are some advanced calisthenic workouts out there that you can absolutely do, but that's going to be really dependent on the person. In terms of like building the most muscle, you probably need an extra outside resistance. That's where weights come in: dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells, machines, whatever. If you want to have that major muscular growth, if you are fine with, making progress and not like, having a ton of muscle growth, calisthenics is a good place to start. Calisthenics maybe should be a place where a lot of people start, instead of just jumping right into something like a dumbbell workout. Kind of mastering those little things as you go is going to be super important, but you're not going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger type big on a calisthenics workout, more than likely, unless you're a genetic freak or a genetic anomaly. Freak is maybe a little bit strong of a word there. You're not going to become a bodybuilder doing calisthenic workouts. But it's a really good just jumping off point for beginners. You're going to get strong. You're going to actually get ridiculously strong, but you're going to get ridiculously strong manipulating your body weight. It's not going to maybe manifest itself in manipulating outside forces. So you may be really good at doing push-ups. You may be really good at doing pull-ups. You're really good at manipulating your own body weight. But does it translate to you helping move, let's say, a couch easier? Yeah, to an extent. But if it's a really heavy couch and you're not used to having really heavy weight, that's going to be a little bit of a hurdle for you to jump over in the future. So you're not going to be massively muscular. You're not going to be, heavy picking up stuff strong, but you're definitely going to make strides in both of those aspects of training, just maybe not as big as it would if you were in the gym using outside resistance. But that's going to be dependent on the person. Calisthenics is a really good jumping off point to that stuff. And last but not least, to wrap up all the training styles of the Made to Excel Fitness podcast, the pros of calisthenics is accessibility, accessibility, accessibility. In terms of coronavirus, gym shut down, home workout equipment sold out. Home workout equipment became really expensive because people started reselling it, right? The market exploded with demand and there was very little supply, so things got to be very expensive. In terms of like spending money on stuff and having the accessibility to go into the gym, COVID provided a reality check for all of that. Calisthenics is free, and you can do it absolutely anywhere on this planet if you have space. Of course, if you're confined in a little 2x2 cell, it's going to be very hard for you to do anything. But I don't think even jail cells are that small. So if you're in jail, you're probably still doing calisthenics. That's kind of all that they have to do. And I'm just completely speaking ignorantly of jails. I don't know what jails are like. I'm sure they have weight rooms. I'm positive they have weight rooms, actually. Mike the Situation, this man went into jail and came out of jail looking like two absolutely different people. And I'm sure a lot of that was through calisthenics. I'm sure a lot of that was through him doing lots of push-ups. But you can do this anywhere, and it's free of cost, right? The only thing that you possibly ever have to buy is a pull-up bar. Pull-up bars are relatively inexpensive, but like I said, in the COVID world, I don't know if they got to be super expensive, but you can buy a pull-up bar and stick it in a doorway if you don't have a beam or something, a particular place where you can pull yourself up on. Make sure that if you are going to use a beam or something in your house that's not a pull-up bar that you put in the doorway, to make sure that it's going to hold you first and foremost, because the last thing you want is to end up on YouTube or on Instagram as a gym fail because your beam broke and you fell and you busted your ass on the floor, right? So don't let yourself become that. But it's accessibility, right? It's all about, it's free. You can do it anywhere, right? Anybody can do it. Doesn't matter what financial situation you're in. Doesn't matter where you live. Doesn't matter how small your house is. If you have like a 5x5 clean area, you can do calisthenics. You can do push-ups. You can do squats. You can do burpees. Pull-ups, obviously you have to have a place to do it. But all these different things, sit-ups, crunches, planks, all these things you can do anywhere and free of cost. So if accessibility is an issue for you, you can't get to the gym, your gym is closed due to COVID, you don't have a gym close to you for whatever reason, you can't afford to go to the gym, you can't afford to buy dumbbells, you can't afford to buy barbells, kettlebells, resistance bands, any of that, calisthenics is the perfect place for you to start. Get moving. Get strong manipulating your own body weight. So when your financial situation begins to turn, when your gym reopens, when you have accessibility to a gym, when somebody comes to your town and builds a gym, you are rocking, rolling, ready to go, hop in there, kill it, go forward, and become the best, strong, most muscular, most fit version of yourself. And that wraps up all the training styles for this Made to Excel Fitness podcast. All 7 of them: bodybuilding, powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, CrossFit, strongman, kettlebell, calisthenics. I can't believe I got that all in one shot. I was completely scared that I was going to mess that up, but here we are, 7 training styles up, 7 training styles down. Hopefully you find something within those 7 training styles that you can enjoy doing, that you love doing, that you have fun doing, or that you just dislike it the least. And hopefully it allows you to work out in longevity for a long time because you enjoy doing it, right? But that wraps it up. Training styles are done. One more episode for this year. I say that now. But like I said, these things could change, and I'm recording this in advance. So if something does change, just, maybe I'll cut this or maybe just disregard it. But that wraps up the training styles. I appreciate and love every single one of you that takes the time to listen to me. Stay festive, my friends. Peace. What's up, y'all? I'm back. This is a conclusion. I ended the episode without a conclusion, without a summary. So, like I said in the introduction, this is going to be the most important part. So you've listened to the episode. You've got all the information, but stick around for a few more minutes because this is really going to wrap up everything for you guys. Like I've said over the course of the last 3 months, I did all these different training styles and dedicated their own episodes to each one for the purpose of trying to expose you guys to as many different training styles as I possibly can, right? You're going to be way more inclined to do something that you enjoy doing versus something that you don't enjoy doing. If there's any sort of negative connotation attached to your workouts, if it's too hard, it's too boring, it's too easy, whatever negative connotation there is, it's going to inhibit you from doing it for a long period of time, right? You might have this sort of short blast of extraordinary motivation, right? A New Year's resolution, which I'll talk about in next week's episode. You'll have this whole ton of motivation that will allow you to push through those things. But when everything starts to normalize and you start to level out, if you don't enjoy a workout program, it's going to be really hard for you to do it over the course of a long time. So finding a training style that you enjoy doing is obviously going to help with the longevity of your fitness progress. So that is the point of these last 7 episodes, or these last 7 training styles, I should say. So if you haven't listened to them all, go back and listen to the ones that you might have missed if they seem interesting to you. If you're a person who kind of pops in here every once in a while, definitely go back and listen to the training styles that you may have missed. You might have a training style out there that will be a good fit for you and that you missed in this podcast episode, and you're just one step away from unlocking a whole training future of success. So definitely go back and check those out. But as I go through these 7 episodes, I try to make these 7 episodes in a way that would satisfy people who are purists of that training style, right? So if you listen to the CrossFit episode and you're a person who is very into CrossFit in its purest form, hopefully that CrossFit episode did CrossFit justice in the way that it was intended to be done. That being said, there's some training styles that I did that I'm not super familiar with, so I'm sure somewhere out there, especially something like Olympic weightlifting. I'm not super knowledgeable about Olympic weightlifting. Somebody who's a expert might listen to that episode and say, there was a lot missing there. This kid's an idiot. But this is just a kind of an introduction, right? You listen to it. If there's something interesting that you kind of took away from the episode, do further research, right? You might find something different than what I said. You might find that you actually may not enjoy that training style, but you did the due diligence. You looked it out. You checked it out. It's something you can check off your list. I can skip that for now and keep going, right? So I try to cover these different training styles as much as I possibly could, or as pure as I possibly could. But at the end of the day, I'm going to assume that most, if not 99.99% of you guys are not fitness purists, right? You're not going to be a person who is aspiring to compete in the CrossFit Games. You're not a person who is a potential competitor in the World's Strongest Man competition. And if you are in that camp or you're listening to the show, hit me up. Let's work together. But, for most of you guys out there, if you're a person, and I'm assuming you are one of these people who has a goal that's like, I want to lose a little bit of weight. I want to gain a little bit of muscle. I want to get stronger. I want my day-to-day life to be better. I want to be healthy for the rest of my life. I don't want to worry about potentially, having all these different medical complications and medical problems and dying prematurely because of my health. I want to get on top of that stuff now, right? odds are that you're in that camp. If any one of those things sound even remotely familiar to you, those are absolutely fantastic goals, and you don't have to be a fitness purist in any one of these different training styles to achieve all those things. So I say all that to say this. I covered these different training styles in the purest way that I possibly could, but that doesn't mean you need to perform these in the purest way that you possibly can. You can pick and choose different aspects of these different training styles and start to kind of make your own training style that's going to be unique to you, that's going to fit to you the best that you possibly can. For example, when I go and I train at the gym, I usually do something that's heavy. I do something to get strong. There's a little bit of powerlifting there, but I do want to focus on my aesthetics. I do want to look good, so I do some bodybuilding stuff, and then as a finisher I want to sweat a little bit. I want to feel like I did something in the gym, so I'll do more of a CrossFit style workout, and I'll use kettlebells every once in a while, and I want to get better at stuff like pull-ups and push-ups, so there's a little bit of calisthenics. So at the end of the day, my training style ends up being an amalgamation of 4, 5, 6 different training styles. You can absolutely do that for yourself. Pick and choose, right? I like the aspect of powerlifting where I get strong, but I still want to look good. So let me do a little bit of bodybuilding. But I still want to perform well. So let me do a little bit of Olympic weightlifting. But I really want to do a muscle up. So let me do a little bit of calisthenics, right? You can pick and choose as you go through these different training styles. You can pick and choose the things that are going to help you the best and the most with your particular sort of goals, with your particular journey. So don't feel the need to perform these different training styles in the purest form that they were intended to be performed at. You make a training style that's going to fit you the best. Don't worry about other people. Don't worry about what a CrossFit purist thinks about your variation of CrossFit, your form of CrossFit. It doesn't matter. As long as you're seeing results, as long as you're having fun doing it, as long as it's going to help you make progress for a really long time, that's really all that matters. So as you listen to the 7 episodes, all 7 training styles, powerlifting, bodybuilding, Olympic weightlifting, CrossFit, strongman, kettlebell, and calisthenics, pick the things you like out of them, kind of form them all together, and go from there, run from there. I cannot encourage enough hiring a personal trainer. They're going to streamline that process in a much more efficient way than you probably can, unless you're a personal trainer yourself, unless you have some sort of fitness background, unless you have a really good idea of what you want and how to do it. Having a personal trainer there is going to make the process that much easier, but that's up to you to decide. I can't encourage it enough, but make these training styles whatever it is, it's going to help you the best. Do not feel the need to practice it the way that I taught it in the training styles. Do what's going to be best for you. Mix and match. That's the beauty of fitness. It's going to be different for everybody. Everybody reacts to things differently. Everybody sort of trains differently and makes progress differently. So that's the beautiful thing about fitness. And that'll pretty much wrap up the Made to Excel Fitness 7 different training styles. 7 up, 7 down. Hopefully that made sense. Mix and match. Go back and listen to the episodes that you haven't listened to. And that'll wrap it up. Until next year, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Now the episode's actually done. Thanks for listening to the Made to Excel Fitness Podcast, the fitness podcast for you, by you. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, consider hitting the subscribe button wherever you're watching or listening, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. New episodes come out every single Monday morning, so hitting the subscribe button ensures that you don't miss out on any new episodes. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, if you feel so inclined, please leave a 5-star review. It helps others find the show. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, hit the little bell, lets you know when new videos come out. Follow me on social media, on Instagram at MTEFit, on Facebook at Made to Excel Fitness. Email me at madetoexcelfitness@gmail.com. Let me know if there's anything that you guys want me to discuss on the show. It is in fact the fitness podcast that is for you, by you. I appreciate every single one of you guys that takes the time to listen to me on your Monday morning, wherever you are. I appreciate you all. Thanks for listening.
What's up, Mark? How you doing, man? Hunter Henry, LA Charger tight end. Best big time shout out to your fitness podcast, the Made to Excel Fitness Podcast. So super cool, man. Got a lot going on. Bolt Ganger, don't bang.